Hi and welcome to my channel again. What I wanted to share in this video, we're all at home, right? Well, most of us that can be home. So I've been getting a lot of riding done on all of my horses. And what I wanted to share was what I've been working on with Whizkey as far as his fast to slow maneuver. That's been a goal of mine that I've wanted to improve this year and going forward, is a more dramatic fast to slow circle set in the reining pattern. And when I last talked to Andrea about it at my last lesson about a month ago now, her comment was to focus on slowing him by getting him to drive more with his hind end underneath him. So kind of think of like balling him up a little bit more as a way to slow him down. Kind of the same way, to my understanding, that pleasure horse riders encourage their horses to go slower, is by actually creating more collection and stepping up more underneath them with the hind end. So to do that, I was going to show you in this video what I've been doing as a way to encourage him to drive up underneath a little bit more. It is the Les Vogts 5 easy pieces. In this case, I'm just working the first 3. And what it is starting with a circle and making sure that you can perform a good small circle with the hip a little to the inside, and they're respecting the reins and staying between the reins, and that you can guide them, and then moving into number 2, which is a counter bend. On an opposite circle, you're keeping the same bend and then go in the opposite direction, and then that moves into number 3, which is to maintain the same bend but then bring the hip in. And why I'm using those exercises was a way for me to encourage him to yield the hip into the circle on the same bend and help drive him up underneath with a slowdown. So I'll try and show you that here, what that looks like. And in the Les Vogts, what I'm using 3 easy pieces here. It's what I've been utilizing as a warm-up to get Wiz thinking about being on that circle and using the hip and the shoulder all in conjunction. So I've been warming him up that way at a walk and at a trot. And then we take it up to the lope, and you know, if he's been doing well at the walk and trot with it, then that's when it's time to bring it up to the lope and try it. And I wanted to show you guys because I was really excited about the progress that we've been making with it. I think I've exclusively focused on it in 3 different rides now, and he's starting to really figure it out. So we'll get to it. Les Vogts 1, 2, and 3 move from 1 being a circle to number 2. Here I'm moving him into number 2. I'm expecting him to counter bend, so he's traveling to the left, but he's bent to the right, and he's moving his shoulders around faster than the hind end. So this is an exercise for him to yield his shoulders. And then here I move into number 3, which we keep the same bend, but then he moves his hip to the inside of the circle, leading the shoulders. So it's the opposite of number 2. So I liked that one okay, but I went right back into number 2 here because I wanted to reset up for number 3. It's one of those things where it's best if you flow from one to the next. So I'm emphasizing working number 3. So I want to encourage going from number 2 to number 3. So now I'm moving into the trot. So this is number 1, just a circle following the bend. Here I'm switching to number 2. Now we're at the trot, moving the shoulders before the hips to the inside of the circle, but this is all keeping the same bend through his body. So he's yielding his shoulders to the inside, and then here I put my outside leg back and I ask for his hip to be leading in that circle. So it is still a counter bend. And here I'm taking it up to the lope. So first I'm asking him to just keep his lope, and this is basically a number 1. So with a number 1, you're just maintaining a circle. They're bent the right direction, their shoulders are up, they're driving from the hind end, and they're respectful of your rein. This Les Vogts pieces are hard to do number 2 at a lope. You can, and I do use that. It's kind of essentially a leg yield, but in this particular exercise I don't go into number 2 because I'm emphasizing going into 3. So here I just asked for him to move the hip to the inside to slow down. He did slow down a little bit, but he didn't yield the hip as much as I wanted. So I kept asking for it throughout that smaller circle. And I brought him back out to the lope again to try it again. So as I come through the middle of the pen, I give him a cluck for a little bit more speed. Because remember, all of this will be a fast circle to a small slow. But all the while we add speed, I maintain the bend and a good proper circle still. So now here I put my leg back and ask for the hip to come in. You could really see there he starts to step under himself more, which is what I'm asking in the whole exercise. I want him to drive up more from the hind end. Doing these exercises really has been helpful for me in finding a way to improve our slowdown, and hopefully it's helpful to you as well. Leave a comment below if you had any questions about it or any confusion or tips. And any suggestions for other things you might like to see. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you like it. Thanks for watching. Bye.